Hi, this is Nadia, or I'm Nadia from Cold Chamber.
Great. Well, how does it feel to have Cold Chamber back out on the road? I have to admit, I think I squealed a little bit when I heard the news. I'm so excited.
Well, it feels good, obviously. You know, for me, it's been 13 years. And the first show, I was kind of nervous because I'm like, oh my God, it's been 13 years. How's it going to be for me to be on stage with the guys again playing those songs? But once I got past the first show, it's just been like we never skipped a beat. It's just like yesterday. You know, it's like we picked up where we left off. That's what it feels like to me.
Kind of like riding a bike.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. And now it's just like, okay, routine, you know, like.
So, what details can you share with us about the new album? You know, is there maybe one or two songs in particular you can tell me what the mindset was like in the studio?
I don't know. I have to think of the titles right now because we changed the titles. We had, you know, pre-production names for the songs, and now we have the actual song titles. You know, basically, Mike and Meeks and I just went into a rehearsal room in Van Nuys in California and worked on the parts and just started jamming, you know, kind of old school. And we just recorded our demoing stuff at his house and in the studio. And then we did that for a couple months, and then we went into pre-production for 10 days, and then right away went to Florida and started tracking the album. So it went all really fast. Like the whole process was maybe 3-4 months, you know.
That's incredibly fast.
Yeah, and actually, you know, I think it's good because it shouldn't really take, you know, forever to, like, it was just flowing for us, so it was easy. What can I say about the new record? It's heavy. It's good. I really like it. I'm really proud of it. I'm happy. Obviously, it's the first record with Cold Chamber that I'm playing on. You know, I've supported the last 2 records live, but now I'm actually on the album and supporting it live. So, yeah, it's exciting. I really like it. You know, we're playing 2 new songs live until the record comes out May 19th. And after that, we're going to play more songs live off the new album, which I'm looking forward to because they're heavier than the 2 songs that we released so far.
It's got to be refreshing to get some fresh material into the set list.
Yeah, I mean, I love the old songs, you know, but, you know, we've played them many times, even if it's new again to play them. But, you know, in total, we've played them like thousands of times. So, yeah, I'm always excited playing the new songs, you know.
Well, it's got to be special for you, too, especially since you did take part in the recording process for this.
My bass lines, oh, yeah, cool. No.
So, I mean, over the years, we've seen so many changes take place in the music industry, positive and negative. Is there any one in particular that you would think had the biggest effect on the band overall?
On this band? In the okay. I mean, you know, we kind of left the scene when, you know, internet, social media wasn't really happening, you know. So getting back into it and putting this record out and getting back together, it's kind of like, wow, you know, I guess we have to start like a Facebook and an Instagram and all that stuff. So that's new to us. We're kind of more old school with that, you know. So we're still building that up. Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the big changes for us as a band. You know, of course, the industry changed completely. Absolutely. With, you know, downloads and everything, and we don't even have to get into that.
I mean, what's it like for you now when you look out from the stage? I mean, before it used to be a sea of lighters, you know, held up in the air for the band, and now it's a sea of cell phone screens. What's that dynamic like? Especially from your perspective.
You know what? I haven't really thought about it much. You know, it's kind of like normal almost to me now. But, you know, it seems like everybody's busy filming the show. And I feel like, you know, maybe people should try and live more in the moment and actually enjoy and get into it, you know, and somebody's going to film it anyway. So it's going to be somewhere on YouTube, you know.
Absolutely. I feel like they're watching the entire show through the screen. I'm like, do you even watch the videos?
I'm addicted to our phone. I'm guilty of it myself. I'm addicted to my iPhone, you know. I always have to check stuff on it. It's terrible.
Absolutely. You know? So, I mean, can you talk a little bit about the band's legacy? And was there ever a point in time where you...
Sorry, that's my phone with you.
Speaking of...
I'm gonna silence it. All right. Speaking of my iPhone, no.
Was there ever a point in time that you guys kind of didn't think it was going to work again?
Well, yeah. I mean, when we broke up in 2002, you know, we never thought, like, we would get back together. You know, at the time, we were all very angry with each other. Obviously, we had a, you know, a pretty dramatic breakup, you know. But, you know, I tried for over the years because I pretty much talked to all of them, you know, individually to try and get us back together, and it just wasn't the right timing, you know, like maybe one day somebody was in the right headspace and then the other person wasn't. So it did take 13 years to get to this place, you know. It's, you know, a surprise to all of us, but it's great, you know. It's really good. I mean, we started making up in 2009 already, and you know, now we're out with a new record, so.
So, I mean, with the writing and everything, was that done as quickly, or was there stuff being worked on in between?
No, pretty quickly. I mean, a couple of the songs that are on Rivals now were written in 2009 when we first made up as people, and then we started working on a couple of songs, you know, and I believe Des even did vocal tracks on one of them, which has now completely changed. It's not the same anymore, but it's one of those songs came back for the album because, you know, we liked it a lot, and I believe it's actually the song that Al Jurgensen is singing on, so it's Suffer in Silence.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So is there anything that didn't make the cut? Are you guys holding on to anything?
I mean, we've had a bunch of songs, you know. On the album there's 12 songs, and we've had, you know, I don't know, 20-something songs. So, you know, you have to make a decision at some point which ones are the stronger ones, which ones fitting together, you know. So a bunch were cut, for sure.
Do you ever get that feeling about a song when you're in the studio, you know, and then are ever surprised when fans gravitate towards a different one?
Yeah, and I think I always pick the songs that are not the singles because those I usually like the best, you know. I think Meigs had a really good feeling with I Owe You Nothing. You know, I think he felt like that was going to be a single, and it turned out to be that, you know. For me, Rivals, you know, the album title and the song that we're also playing live tonight and released, I did not like that song when we were doing that in pre-production, just because I couldn't figure out my bass part for the verse, you know. I came up with all these different things, and it all didn't work, and I'm like, I don't know about this song, you know. Just I was personally frustrated with it. But then, you know, going into the studio and working with Mark Lewis, you know, we came up with this bass line which turned out to be very, like, Sabbath-like and simple, but it works, you know. And now hearing it with vocals, now it's become one of my favorite songs. So you never know. It's kind of like, you know, it's art. You know, you can start one way and then you change one little piece and that changes something else, and all of a sudden it's a whole different song in your brain, you know. At least that's how it is for me.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a painting. I feel like a painting is never finished. You can always add something to it or take something away.
And then it takes on a whole nother meaning sometimes.
Exactly, and that's how I feel about this particular song. So now I love it. But first when we start working on it, I'm like, I don't know, you know. And
so, I mean, the music's, like, very, very heavy, but there's also this, you know, underlying theme of, like, positivity throughout it that I think people miss sometimes. And how important is that, like, in the writing process?
Positivity in the music? Mm-hmm. I mean, I like anything positive, really, you know. I try to be as positive as I possibly can every day, which is a challenge sometimes. But, yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, for Cold Chamber, I think we have, like, a groovy element that we've always had. Mm-hmm. And even though it's very heavy, it still has that typical Cold Chamber sound, you know, which, you know, that's just how it works in this band, you know. Yeah. But, you know, lyric-wise and that kind of stuff, that's really a Des question, you know. Like, I'm not sure exactly what every single song, I couldn't, you know, completely explain to you what every lyric is, you know, what he means by that, so.
I mean, I feel like I look at music as a universal language we can all speak and understand, and even, you know, even if there's no lyrics and it's just sound, it still can invoke an emotion. When did it begin to speak to you?
Music? Mm-hmm. Oh, since I was a kid. You know, my parents were very much into music, especially also into rock and roll. So I grew up with music from when I was born, basically. You know, my mom always had Motown music and, you know, all kinds of funk stuff and pop, disco, you know, back in the 70s. And, yeah, I don't know. It was just part of life for me from the very beginning. You know, I think I went to my first show when I was probably 4 or 5 years old with my parents.
Nice. Do you remember what it was?
It was The Police.
That's a good one for a first.
It's a great one. I love The Police. Yeah.
Most of us are embarrassed by our first show.
No. That's a good one. No, I mean, you know, like my parents were listening to like Leonard Skinner, even the Stooges and stuff like that. So I grew up with a lot of cool music, you know.
Absolutely.
So I have to credit my parents for having good taste.
Nice. So what does touring look like for the rest of the year for the band?
Well, after this U.S. tour, we're coming home for about a week, and then we're going to go to South America. We're going to play Monsters of Rock in Brazil, which is, you know, huge.
Such a huge show.
Yeah. And I honestly, before I heard that we were doing it, I wasn't even aware that festival still existed. You know, I know about Rock in Rio, but I'm like, Monsters of Rock is still around? That's amazing, you know, and very excited to go there and play that. And we're going to come home after that, and then we're going to go to Europe for, I believe, 3 weeks or something like that. We're doing a festival in Vienna there also, but we're mainly doing like a little headlining run in the UK and Europe. And then after that, I'm not sure, you know. I'm sure there's things in the works right now, you know, that just aren't official yet or booked yet, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, once the record comes out, you know.
Oh yeah, I still think that the States are trying to catch up with the European festivals, and they just haven't got there yet.
Yeah. Who knows? Hopefully a lot of good things coming up, you know.
Great. Well, if there was one thing that people probably misunderstood about Coal Chamber, what would it be? Is there anything people tend to get wrong?
I'm sure there's a lot of things they get wrong, you know. What those things are, I don't know. I mean, you know, I think for me personally speaking, I kind of live in my own bubble, so I'm not really aware of what people say or think, and honestly, I don't really care what people say or think, and somebody's knocking. I'll be right done. So yeah, for me, it's like I don't really pay attention to that, you know, like what people say or think, because why, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm sure that you know, we get the whole new metal thing a lot, which, you know, that name came after we were already playing, you know, that's like an after effect kind of thing. And I don't know, you know.
I hate genres. Like, I hate when an artist has to feel boxed. And I think, you know, as journalists, they're always pushing us to place an artist here. It's got to be rock, or it's got to be something like they're not allowed to
those things, yeah. I know, I feel the same way, you know, and I think, you know, Coal Chamber is a mix of a lot of different stuff, you know. I mean, we're obviously heavy. We obviously have metal elements, but we have new wave and goth elements, you know. I believe there's some pop elements too, you know. So, and it's just a combination of different styles. And for a lack of better word, you know, call it new metal, call it whatever, you know.
Oh, yeah. I always look at them as like a mosaic or like a melting pot of everything,
Yeah,
you know, like
totally, you know. Absolutely. And I mean, you know, the four of us, we all have, you know, 4 different styles, but yet we match, you know. So it's just one of those things.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me. We absolutely can't wait for the new album and, like, obviously the show tonight. So thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you guys.